Hey guys, welcome to episode 41 of Dash Culture. I'm one of the hosts, Dash, along with my co-host, Mr. Ryan Betson. How are you, Ryan?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing fucking awesome, dude.
Fucking awesome. Not regular awesome. Fucking awesome.
And it's because Buddy's not here. I'm lying. But no, for everybody out there, Buddy's away this week. He'll be back.
It is a shame. We did lose him this week. He, terrible accident. He's not doing well.
No.
It's hit and miss at this point.
It is.
We did get the hospital did say, like, you want to flick the switch? I'm like, oh, well, hold it a little bit longer and they may come back.
He might be back for next episode.
That's right. Although he's in that coma, if we walk up and say, Celeste DLC, he may come back to life.
What?
Yeah, he's like, Celeste! And then he's back in and he's ready to party.
You're not wrong.
Yeah. Celeste will bring Buddy back to life.
Well, we're going to be talking about that tonight without him, which kind of
Funny
sucks.
That.
Yeah, but we will talk about it when he gets back as well for episode 42 in a couple of weeks. But for tonight, this is Dash Culture, a bi-weekly pop culture conversational podcast where the worlds of Dash and Ryan collide. We'll be
Dash Culturists.
Dash Culturists tonight. We'll be taking you through the latest in gaming, and that's it for tonight, because honestly, movies, music, and everything else. Actually, we'll be talking about a little bit about music, but movies is kind of falling off the wayside tonight because Buddy's not here. But yeah, another geeky pop culture for your listening pleasure. Don't forget to follow us on SoundCloud, iTunes, Spotify, where you can give us those cheeky 5-star ratings, and also over on dashgamer.com. Now, a little bit of housekeeping. So the show. Starting next episode, guys, officially really tonight as well, but starting from next episode, the show will be permanently moving to a 7:30 Monday night time slot. This is to, first of all, help out our friends over in other states, basically because we're going to be hitting daylight savings on episode 43. So once I'll announce the proper times for everybody in other states and everything, but essentially it goes 6:30 p.m. In Queensland, 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, 7 p.m. in South Australia, 4:30 p.m. in Western Australia.
Thursday next week for WA.
Yeah, pretty much. So those are pretty much the rough time slots at the moment, but it will be moving to 7:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time for the next episode. Then the following episode will be a permanent 7:30 Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. So I will repeat that for the next episode, so you guys...
So damn Queenslanders refusing to take on... Daylight savings.
Yeah, exactly. So it's essentially to kind of help everybody out, help out us, and help out like myself and Buddy, help out also our listeners and the people who come in and chat with us as well. Jamie says, daylight savings. He's too busy playing with Jericho. That's true. He is. He definitely is.
Jericho is kindly by his bedside. Keep an eye on him. Keep him protected.
Actually, Buddy's actually, the truth is actually Buddy is out tonight. He's got his grand final for touch rugby. So good luck to Buddy on that one. That's going to be really cool for him. And hopefully he wins that one and comes back and tells me all about it, which I won't care about. So other housekeeping as well, guys, is that we did get an Astral Chain mini review episode up on dashgamer.com. So please, if you guys want to head on over to the website, check that out. Myself, I did get a code from Nintendo.
But he goes, mate, finish playing with Jericho off to the touch rugby league. So good luck, Mr. Watson. Hope you come out with the cup or the medal or the. I don't know what sports does. My sport has belts. Hope you win the belt.
Oh my god!
Does he win the belt? Is that how it works?
Is he gonna win the belt?
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh my god, Buddy! Seriously, if you don't win, you're gonna cop it when you get back. Myself and Buddy did sit down over the weekend, I believe. Last Thursday actually. We sat down.
Oh, new season started, so we were all completely wrong.
Oh, sorry. There we go. All right, did you win? Because you told me the grand final was not a grand final new season. I thought you said the grand final this week. Anyway, so there you go from the horse's mouth himself. Speaking of Buddy, last week we did sit down and talk about Astral Chain. Thanks to the kind folk over at Nintendo. So please make sure that you guys go over and check out our last mini episode of Dash Culture where we sat down and talked about that, which was a really, really cool game. And Betson, that's a game that you should play as well. Yeah, I know.
I saw it play it at work and it looked like eye pain, so no.
Oh my god, I hate when you do this stuff. But yeah, thanks to Nintendo, I did get to sit down and review it as well. So make sure that you guys head on over to dashgamer.com and check that out. Our Tool album review, thanks to Simon Blackburn, who actually wrote up a full-on Tool album review. So this is like one of the most anticipated albums of all time, essentially. 13 years.
Yeah, it's like 13, it was 15 years, something around about there since the last one. Co-host of my show, For the Players, Josh, big hard on for Tool. Yeah. So he's been having a great time.
Awesome. So yeah, make sure that you guys go check that one out as well. I think I believe, there it is. He gave it an 8 out of 10. There you go. So make sure you guys go check that one out. Also, I wrote up a Steins Gate Zero review, so make sure you guys go check that one out because the Blu-ray just came out, so that'd be really cool for anybody who loves their anime and Steins Gate. Stop shaking your head, Betson. Betson, you did something for the website this week, which was a playlist. Want to tell us about it?
I did. So Dash came to me like 2 weeks ago and was like, hey, can you make a playlist for this Friday? And I forgot. So I did it for the next week. So to go in conjunction with a little cross venture that we've done. So it's myself as the pop culturist, Buddy from Dash Culture, and Dylan from the Explosion Network. We sat down and we've done an 8-part mini-series on Kevin Smith and his Viewer Schooniverse, leading into the release of Jay and Silent Bob Reboot in October. So what I've done is I've selected 10 of some of the best songs to come out of the Viewer Schooniverse. So we're looking at Clerks to Clerks 2. Some examples are 1979 by the Smashing Pumpkins, Chewbacca by Supernova, Alanis Morissette's Everything, which, as I've mentioned on the show when you get to it, that song has such an influence on me. It's the song my wife walked into at our wedding. That means, so this music means a lot to me. Kevin Smith means a lot to me. So we would like you to go listen to that playlist. Go check out the show as well. A new episode dropped today. We talk about Mallrats, talked about Clerks last week. Go check it out. Radio Movies.
Very cool. Yeah, make sure that you guys go check that out over at theexplosionnetwork.com. So yeah, very cool. Also on the rundown for tonight is Dash Culture Wrestling return with myself, Ryan Betson, and Buddy Watson. We all sat down and talked about AEW's All Out, which was an awesome show. So for any wrestling, any wrestling enthusiasts out there, make sure that you go check out Dash Culture Wrestling. So it's back, and we're all going to be full on into AEW, while Betson and Jem take care of the WWE side of things over at the Pop Culturist, the Young and the Wrestlers.
That's which right. I also with Dash Meltzer himself giving us those dirty dirt sheets.
Dirt sheet Dash. So I don't know who that guy is, but it sounds sexy.
I hear he's cool.
Yeah, very cool. Also, Dash and Holmesy Break Your Hearts is out this Saturday, guys. Thanks to the kind folk over at 5 Star Games. Myself and Holmesy are sitting down and going through a book club style, much like we did with Persona 5. And we're talking about Catherine Full Body. Myself and Holmes have been really excited to kind of sit down and go over this game. It's been a long time coming, but we've finally got our hands on it. And episode 1 is this Saturday, so make sure that you guys head on over to soundcloud.com/dashandholmesy, dashandholmesy.com, and all those other services to help us out and give us those cheeky 5-star ratings and listen to the first episode of the next season. Oh man, we're still not finished with housekeeping.
Holy fuck!
Yeah, now Final Fantasy VIII review will be out this Friday. Thanks to Bryce, who's writing it up. Thanks to Bandai Namco for supplying us with the review code. Gears 5 review is next Monday. Thanks to the kind folk over at Xbox Australia. River City Girls is next Wednesday. Thanks to the kind folk over at WayForward. And then potentially for all of us, Borderlands 3, the review will be out next Friday for at least dashgamer.com. Thanks to the kind folk, potentially, over at 2K ANZ.
Yeah, well, we'll be discussing it come Monday in this week's in the next episode of For the Players, the Pop Culturist PlayStation podcast, because I'll spend the weekend with it and we'll get you my first impressions come Monday.
Very cool. Oh, all right, Betson. We went through.
Man, if anyone stuck through this, rad.
Yeah, thanks for sticking around. All right, that's it for this week of Dash Culture.
We'll see you next week.
We'll see you soon. All right. First topic of the night, Betson, is the Nintendo Direct that was held last week.
Yeah.
Betson, I know that you haven't had a chance yet to kind of sit down and kind of fully digest everything that came out of the Direct, I should say. But essentially, the big ones, the big announcement, I believe, honestly, Here it goes.
He's got tongs this time.
Oh my god. Oh dear, here he comes.
So keep going through and I'll deal with my child. Hey, child.
No, it's all good. So essentially, the Nintendo Direct last week was big for all Nintendo fans, essentially. Here he is. Betson, Overwatch was a big one.
There's people that are really quite excited by that one.
Yeah, so Overwatch is a big announcement that actually came out of the Direct. I want to gauge your thoughts on this one, because I know that with Overwatch being a PC, Xbox, and PS4 kind of dealio, for it to actually get ported now over to Nintendo Switch, do you think that we're looking at an age now where, with a lot of games getting ported to Switch, that a lot of people were like, I don't know how it's going to run on this system? Do you think that we're kind of running a risk here of trying to get all these powerful games and just compress them enough to actually land on Switch and work properly?
100%. So we are hitting that point is happening. The Switch was already underpowered at launch, and as we're about to hit the next generation with the PS5 and whatever the next one is, for Xbox that is, we are going to hit a point where Switch just can't keep up, and we're seeing that with the likes of The Witcher. Granted, The Witcher isn't an staggeringly larger game, but when it's running at 540p, that sort of stuff, it's not doing well. And I think the Switch is going to come to a point where it's just going to be a place to dump older games to try to get a second push. An example is, as JDP Cart 18 in the chat says, Star Wars Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy, these are decade plus old games, and it's apparently impressive that it can run on the Switch. No, not really. Granted, they come on a PS4 and stuff too, which is cool. I love Jedi Academy. It's one of my favorite games ever. But that isn't impressive. Overwatch is still impressive, but still an old game. And that's the problem that we're going to have. The Switch is going to be impressive for those that want to play older games on the go. Which for some is a selling point. For me, not so much. Not so much at all.
No, I agree. There are a few games that I love the fact that we are getting games that were on systems that essentially could run them at max power and great output and all that, 1080p, 60 frames per second. But ultimately, to get them ported to the Nintendo Switch, are we looking do you think we're looking at another Wii U situation in that kind of regard? But the Wii U was terrible altogether.
It was.
But in terms of actually having games that now are a decade old, like you're saying, and then reporting games from the Switch from the Wii U over to the Switch, are we looking at something that Nintendo's kind of saying, okay, we got games in development, but we've also got a handful of games now that we can take advantage of and chuck it on the Switch and essentially port over and dumb down and all that kind of thing?
Don't get me wrong, any Nintendo published property that comes out between now and whenever the Switch is dead will be fantastic because they're designed for the platform. They know how to make it work. But any third party is going to lose interest fast. And this happens. And this is just what happens with Nintendo because they play a different game than everybody else. They don't play that power game. They play that novelty game. But even then, that novelty game is always short-lived. The Nintendo Switch Lite comes out, which removes everything that was marketed about the Switch, right? It's just a fancy-ass DS now. And that's the problem we're going to face. The 3DS had it that thing is old as fuck, and it aged so poorly towards the end. And it wouldn't surprise me if the big, some of the big third parties like your Ubisofts and whatnot pull their support at some point, and it'll be either that or they'll be I don't know, here's Trials Fusion, which I think is already on the Switch. So
it is already on the Switch.
That argument is void. But
poor example, Bets.
It's poor example. But I'm saying Trials Rising is out since. It's newer games and they're just flogging off older stuff on there.
No, 100%. Jamie Penning in the chat says that developers originally were not intending to release Overwatch on a Switch. Something must have changed their mind. He also says that that's exactly the selling point for me. Taking games on the go. Otherwise, I wouldn't be playing very many games at all. While I agree with Jamie, I love the fact that you're able to take Overwatch on the go now. like, it's fantastic to have that opportunity to sit down and play it on the bus or the train for those people who are, taking public transport.
Yeah, look, the thing there is depending on how much internet this is going to drain. That's a big question.
Yeah.
That I'm sure that's unstipulated, because with Overwatch being an online only game, that's going to be a problem. In terms of why would they put it on the Switch? Money. Like, it's the only reason. Like, dollars, and like Overwatch, I assume it's seeing a lull as well.
Yep.
I'm saying it's not dying by any stretch, but Overwatch is nowhere near as huge as it was X amount of years ago. And this is a good way to sort of revitalize it a little bit. Yeah. Now, someone like JD over here, who by the sounds of it does a lot of hiking to and fro for work and whatever.
Yep.
Like, I myself, I drive to work, I drive home, I don't have anywhere to play my Switch on the go.
Right.
So that selling point for me means nothing.
Yeah. No, 100%. I can understand that there's a certain market that it's appealing to, and obviously the Switch does a great job in terms of actually appealing to a market that, is always on the go. Jamie actually says, Overwatch isn't my jam. Got a couple of lengthy titles still to play, Fire Emblem, Astral Chain. Yeah, so, like, the great thing about first-party Nintendo titles that comes out, it's obviously exclusive to the Switch. The thing is, they're all optimized perfectly for the system itself.
Exactly.
While third-party games that actually get ported over from PC or PS4 or Xbox over to the Switch, it's running a major risk. And usually those are the games that run like, I won't say crap, but run questionably. That's a great way to put it. Yeah, questionably. A great example of a game that ran kind of like junk on the Switch was WWE 2K17,
and that's the exact reason. 18, sorry, it's Seth Rollins on the front, and that's the exact reason 19 hasn't been ported over.
Yeah,
and it's the exact reason you won't see 20 on there either.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, look, it's great. I mean, look, it'll be an opportunity. I'll put it that way. It'll be an opportunity for Overwatch to make an impression on Switch players. I love the fact that we're getting Overwatch on Switch. I'm definitely keen to actually pick it up on Switch and give it a go and see what how they actually will deliver it to us. I think.
Have they discussed whether it requires Nintendo Online?
No, actually, that's a good question. I haven't seen anything, but I'm guessing it will. It probably will. I mean, every other system has had that with it. I mean, like PlayStation, Xbox.
It's very true. Very true.
Whereas Fortnite has really been the only one that's escaped that on every other system. So, and I don't think Fortnite necessarily requires it on Nintendo Switch either. Jamie also says in the chat, I only play my Switch in my breaks at work and maybe half an hour before bed. Hence why I love the lengthy titles, as I can play the games over many months. Yeah.
See, the other problem is I play video games for a living, so that also hurts. Like, I'm not going to play games on my lunch break. I'm going to go away from games for a little while.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I sell them.
Yeah.
And I play them. It's my world 24/7. So
same.
Regardless, I have to look at it. We also got a new look at Luigi's Mansion 3, the multiplayer, which was called Scream Park, which looks really, really nice. I'm not sure. Are you have you played any of the other Luigi's Mansions before?
No, not at all.
None of them. Not even GameCube.
No, I never had a GameCube.
Okay.
So that's a no for me. I've played them.
Yeah.
In short bursts, but I've never actually owned them enough to sort of spend my own time with them.
Hey, Paul,
I hear they're well loved, well received.
Yeah. Oh, they definitely are. It's Nintendo first party. It's one of the franchises that, oh my god, Paul says, you mentioned Luigi's Mansion, so I came.
So when does Luigi's Mansions come out next year? Yeah.
Yes. Oh no, end of this year, I think.
End of this year. So look, I will no doubt try to spend some time with it over PAX weekend. Because will no doubt go wandering around, give it a burl.
For the love of God, Paul and Buddy in the chat are about to start.
I understand why Buddy, because same as yourself, it is stock take week at your job, so you never want to look at games again. Fuck games.
No, fuck games. Yeah, seriously. Paul says it's out Halloween. There you go. Right. Oh, that's right. It is out Halloween. Yeah. So there we go. Very cool.
I'll be busy playing Medieval.
I'll be playing this. I'll definitely be playing. I'll definitely be playing Luigi's Mansion for sure. Luigi's Mansion holds a close place in my heart. Like when I first got my GameCube, dude. Oh, so good. Such a great game.
Actually, I lie. I'll probably be playing 2K19.
But yeah, that's true. Buddy says in the chat, hit fatigue and get sick of seeing them every now and then during the being surrounded by them. Yeah, I'm at that point too. I think, and I've thought about that today. You know that I really did think about this today, and I guess this is a left field topic. is that like myself and Buddy who work around video games, and then like afterwards we go home, and honestly somebody like myself has to review them and then like talk about them and write about them. It really does. We really do hit a fatigue point. I mean,
yeah, I'm in the same boat, dude. So, like, for those who don't know, outside of my content creation, I work in youth services, where my entire job is about using games as a platform to help people socialize and gain interpersonal skills.
Yeah.
You know, so I play games every day from like 8 hours a day at work, and then when I come home, I'm reviewing games and stuff as well. Yeah. And that's why I use wrestling as my break. But because wrestling's really great with my clients, wrestling's seeping its way into work as well. So that's going to get there is a burnout point when you spend too much time with it, and that comes from anyone that works in content creation. Like,
don't get me wrong, I love doing it. I love games.
I was thinking because there's another show that I listened to that decided to close up shop this week. And it was one of those situations like I couldn't imagine it if I ever stopped doing this. Yeah. As much as it burns me out, I can't imagine a day I'd stop.
Yeah, same here. So that's where I'm at the moment with it. Yeah, we're a little bit tired and grumpy at the moment because myself and Buddy had just fucking got done doing 2 nights of stock take, but that's how it is. And then I come home 7:30 and we're doing this. Look, I love it. I love all of it. So I would not trade this for anything at the moment. So I'm really happy with it. But Nintendo. Oh yeah. Trials of Mana remake was confirmed for a release outside of Japan, which is cool. A lot of people love Trials of Mana. Obviously, will get their kicks of that. There were a few more announcements. The other big ones were Banjo-Kazooie got released for Smash Brothers, which is really cool. Fatal Fury got some DLC as well. Terry Bogard is actually in Smash Brothers now. The other big one was Tokyo Mirage Sessions is making a jump from the Wii U to the Nintendo Switch, which is good for Fire Emblem fans and Shin Megami Tensei fans, like myself, who love Persona.
It's a trigger word for me.
Persona.
Mm-hmm. And Shin Megami Tensei.
Persona. Twin Peaks inspired thriller series Deadly Premonition is coming to the Switch. Did you hear about this, Betson?
I did, and I've never played it, but it's one of those ones because when you said Twin Peaks inspired, I'm like, ooh. After the back of Control, I'm like, I want more spooky shit. I want more intriguing thriller shit.
I saw the trailer for this and I thought it looks really cool for a Nintendo Switch game. I think it's going to play in handheld. I think it's going to look great. I don't know about how it looks right now. Like, I'm looking at some of the footage right now on screen. I don't know whether it looks necessarily that great, whether it will look that polished on big screen, but I think it would definitely play okay in handheld. A lot of people have got their eyes on this game like it's going to be something big for it. I hope to God, though, that it just runs smoothly because the trailer looked rough in terms of gameplay and the frame rate. So we'll see what happens when it actually hits. I'm just scrolling through some of these because I don't want to read every single announcement because some of them are a bit Pokemon Sword and Shield got another look, which looked rad, I guess, for Pokemon fans as well. I'm not the biggest Pokemon fan, and I'm a bigger Persona fan, big RPG guy, but I'm not really that big. Paul James in the chat says, it triggers Betson and it triggers the table of Mr.
Because Pokemon, I'm a big Pokemon fan from way back, but I am feeling I'm hitting a point as well because Pokemon's also becoming a trigger thing because it's huge with the people that I work with, and it's kind of I'm starting to see the holes in how Pokemon games work in the terms of the repetition, and 25 years later it's still the same shit but just slightly different Pokemon. So that's starting to wear thin on me. I need to play something that drastically changes the formula, and even the changes that were expected from the 3DS to the Switch aren't there.
No, they're not.
And that's a problem.
Yeah. I think, if anything, we're looking at a stage with Pokemon that they are trying their best to change, but I think that they're still delivering the same formula. We're not getting anything new that we've seen for the last decade from Pokemon. Yeah. Well, no. There have been some aesthetic changes made to Pokemon.
Yeah, but I'm not talking aesthetic changes. Aesthetic changes come with time. There's nothing in terms of how the game visually is represented. That's going to guarantee that's going to change. But I'm talking fundamentally, the bones of Pokemon need to change.
All right, give me some examples though.
I don't know. Like, it's this weird situation, right? Like, I understand the game has to have that structure of the 8 badges and whatever. Yeah. But it needs something, whether it just changes, how your Pokemon fight. Like, make it more, maybe go the Final Fantasy route and make it action-based rather than turn-based, learn more moves, do some change. Like, that's why Let's Go worked in a good way, because it changed it. Rather than having to fight them, it was just more about focusing, collecting, and it's sort of a simplified version. And
it was very casual.
It worked, and it totally worked because it changed what you knew.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with you in that aspect. There are going to be some changes made to the game from what I've heard, and it's going to be a little more open. But I think with Sword and Shield, we need something big, like bigger. Yeah. Bigger. To make it different. I think that we're stuck in a phase right now where Pokemon has just been the same release every time. They even so this is the thing. So they had Sun and Moon, which came out in 2016, I think it was, and then 2 years later, Ultra Sun and Moon. So a mild step, so not even a full game. So assuming minimal team worked on Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, they've had the better part of 4 years to make this game. Yeah, and it's coming out like this. Yeah. Paul in the chat says, take away the turn-based stuff and you take away the accessibility for young children, and they're still in the primary demographic. Jamie also says,
I think kids give less fucks about Pokemon than they've ever had.
I agree. I agree.
The big majority of Pokemon fans are people in their older.
Yeah. They're our age now. That comes from first-hand account, Paul, as well. Like, honestly, it's a case where I sell Pokemon to people our age. I struggle to sell Pokemon to kids.
In my job, I work with people from the ages of 14 through to dead. Yeah. But the main demographic of people that I work with, and these guys, when they love shit, they love shit. Yeah. I work with a lot of ASD people. They're 25 and up are the ones that give a shit about Pokemon. Younger, they couldn't care. Care remotely.
Jamie says in the chat, the mechanics are never going to change. They are so integrated into the series that fundamentally changing them would further fracture the player base. I agree.
Further fracture is the key word there, because I myself, big fan since I was 8 years old, and I've lost interest. So
yeah. I agree with you in that aspect as well. Paul follows up with, as a teacher, I could not agree any less. I see 1,000 plus a day, and there's so many. Yeah, that's true.
That's true. My sample size is smaller, so you're spot on there, Paul.
Yeah, I would probably agree with that as well. Even selling them at work, I see less. However, actually trying to sell it to parents or kids when they come in and they say they want to buy a Nintendo Switch, I never see any kids gravitate, or even a 2DS or a 3DS. Never seen kids immediately gravitate towards Pokemon. I remember when Pokemon X and Y came out, and that was huge. That release was freaking gigantic. Can't remember selling it to kids. I was always selling it to people our age. And at the time, I think it was 23. And I was selling it to 23, 24, 25-year-olds instead of younger kids. So I don't know, man. It's a bit of a toss-up. You're still going to sell it to kids, but I think that the demographic for Pokemon is now our generation.
Yeah. But I think they need to take that risk as well. And that's the biggest problem. Is I certainly feel that they've been playing safe this whole time. Oh yeah. Apart from minor changes, you said, from going from 2D to 3D. That's not massive. That really isn't massive. So they need to do something. Now, I also understand that changing the things that I mentioned as an example completely break the game. Yep. But how many other franchises have broken their main stable mechanics and have become bigger and better and stronger because of it? Yeah. If you felt this also ties in with another problem that I personally have with Nintendo sometimes. What's that? Is they are so reliant on nostalgia and sticking to what they know that it actively, I think it's a huge negative. I think it turns away younger people.
But do you think that also PlayStation, companies like Activision have kind of taken that formula and tried to
100%. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but for some people, every time I see, once again, with the Nintendo Direct, it's I bet you there's a fucking Mario announcement and this, and you can almost get to a point. I understand they have their staple franchises, and that's totally cool, but unless you like that Nintendo shit, or unless you that's not shit in a derogatory term, shit is a collective of items. Unless you grew up with that, it's kind of tough, right?
Yeah.
Like I feel Nintendo runs so primarily on nostalgia that unless you came to it on day one, or you have it ingrained in your household from when you're young from your parents, which probably has happened more likely now, I don't think it's a desirable thing.
I will agree to a certain point.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
yes. Yeah. Yes, Nintendo do rely heavily these days on nostalgia. We are within that generation where we expect games like Zelda, Mario, the Pokemon series. Those games are staples for Nintendo to release because they know they're going to do well. Do you feel like, though, that's we can also say the case for Xbox? We just got Gears 5.
Xbox is another example. Now, PlayStation, they're there. There are franchises that they are using over and over again, and that's fine, but it doesn't seem to be in as excess of like Nintendo. But saying that, though, to if anything, solidify my point from before,
right?
Breath of the Wild drastically changed what Zelda was.
Yeah.
And people adored it. I myself, not a big fan. But there are things in that game that are so different from every Zelda before.
Yeah.
They took a risk, and that risk paid off hard.
Yes.
And I think
because it was different.
Yeah, I think Game Freak need to do the same.
You're probably right.
Now, because like back in the day, if you looked at on your DS, your 3DS, your 64, there were a plethora of Pokemon games. You had the standard staples on your DS or your Game Boy, and then they had Stadium and blah, 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 and all these other side games that came out. That doesn't exist now.
No.
Those games have drastically shrunk. So we are left with Pokemon Go, the main the main Switch games, and maybe something else. So if that development's been spread and Pokemon as a brand is shrinking, I think that if they're not doing that, this kind of says something. Then they need to double down and do something different, be better, start it again.
100%.
Not full reboot, but just give it new blood.
Yeah, no, I agree. Jamie says in the chat, Nintendo have a minor part in the Pokemon Company, which oversees the Game Freak and creatures. If the Pokemon Company didn't have to release a new anime, cards, toys, then Sword and Shield could have been delayed to work on further. Unfortunately, sacrifices have had to be made to make this deadline of November.
I'm sure you're correct, but I guarantee you those departments are so separate from each other, it means nothing.
Yeah, I have to give it to Betson on that one as well. Like, it's a case where like television production, toys, cards, and everything else, Nintendo have their R&D situation down pat when it comes to Pokemon. The Pokemon Company and Nintendo are two separate entities. While Game Freaks works mainly under Nintendo, you have the Pokemon Company that output other stuff like the cards and the anime and everything else. They work essentially with that. With the anime, they work with television studios and everything else. Where obviously Nintendo keep a close eye on these kind of things. They oversee a lot of stuff to make sure that their vision of their products don't go out of hand or anything like that.
And on top of that, as we know, the game shape the TV, it shapes the toys. Like, it is the key stable point. But there's been times in the past where that has happened. Like, I could be 100% wrong here, but I distinctly remember like the Orange Island series, so series 2, existed because they weren't ready for Gold and Silver yet.
Yeah.
So like in the past, they've adapted to these lulls of games to fill it with TV. Like, that hasn't changed, and I'm sure they could do it again. Like, they're not as integral as they ever have been.
No, 100%. I agree with you on that. Let's move on to the next thing, which was really cool that I actually personally love. And yes, it plays in part with the whole nostalgia act that we're actually talking about, which is Super Nintendo coming to Nintendo Switch. I love it. I love the fact that we are getting Super Nintendo and we're getting the controllers as well. That shit. Yes, here's my money, Nintendo. You can have it. How much is it? $80 for 2 controllers? You fucking take it here. And I threw my money at the fucking my computer monitor, and I was like, just take it and give me.
So I threw money at my computer. I realized I did nothing, so I entered my credit card.
And yeah, I'm waiting for my controllers to get here, but I've already played a few games on the Switch. I mean, I'll be honest with you, I didn't have to. I play these games all the time on emulators on my PC, but to actually have it on Switch and to have a licensed Super Nintendo controller in 2019, it's just like, here's my money, Nintendo. Just fucking take it and give me whatever you're gonna give me. So I was happy with that. Like everybody's been waiting for Super Nintendo games on Switch, man, and they now have delivered it, which is awesome. So
I understand that. I've got a big love for Super Nintendo. Super Nintendo was probably like the second console I ever had behind the PlayStation, and I've got some incredibly strong memories about some very specific games on the SNES. But
the
SNES,
yeah.
But yeah, like it's just kind of it's okay.
Yeah. Paul in the chat says a little bit of town hero news is also just bobbed up.
Game Freak's other game, yep.
Yeah, I'll check that out in a second, Paul. But the list of the Super Nintendo games that we got was Brawl Brothers, Demon's Crest, John Mac 2, Kirby Dream Land 3, which is a good one. I'm gonna say some of these are obviously just junk, but like we get some gems here as well. So like Kirby Dream Land 3, Star Fox, Super Mario Kart. I'm just gonna read the gem ones. Super Mario Kart, Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island. Super Mario World is on the list. Super Metroid is on the list. A Link to the Past is on the list. Kirby's Dream Course is on the list. F-Zero is on the list, and so is Pilot Wings. For anybody who likes Pilot Wings, because apparently there are people who like Pilot Wings.
And now, as Dash says in the chat, where's Earthbound? And Chrono Trigger! And all the JRPGs! My real question is, where's Mystic Quest Legend?
Where is Donkey Kong Country? Like how Jamie says in the chat.
Where's Dan Kang?
Like I would have rathered some Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3. Like I know a lot of people aren't big on 3, but I don't care. I'll take 3 anyway. So I'm pulling up this news that Paul just gave me.
See, the point that JD points out needs something to release later. You're sacrificing because the hype is here. The hype is here. People, if people get burnt now, they don't fucking care about later. That's how that, like, it's a very risky decision to do that, to be that guy, to be a company that's like, we'll drip feed that shit later. People stop fucking caring very fast, especially now. Yeah. Back in the day, people would piss their pants every day, every week when they're like, oh, what's Nintendo bringing to the virtual shop? Oh, what's going to happen? Yeah. But now it's like, oh, do you mean it's not there?
The virtual console. Oh, God.
So virtual console, but that's something now people are like,
and you have to buy points. Ugh.
The society we live in our constant demand of instant gratification with your Netflixes and your hula hoops and your Pac-Man video games, like people want it now. They have attention spans that can be measured in nanoseconds.
Are you quoting Little Karibo right now?
No, I'm quoting basketball. But
okay, thanks, bud.
But like the point is that if people want it, they want it now.
Yeah, that's true.
Because the situation of like when I heard Nintendo Online and they're like, here are the original NES games that are available. Yeah. I'm like, nah. And they may have added 100 exceptional games.
Yeah, yeah.
But I don't fucking care. You could have got me then, but you didn't. And same goes here. You could have got me now, but you didn't.
Paul just gave us some info as well that I'm checking up on screen. Little Town Hero, platform release, Nintendo Switch. Release date is October 17th, 2019. Price $24.99. Category role-playing. Number of players, only 1. The rating is teen, T for teen, violence and language. So there you go. Thanks, Paul, for all that info.
Side problem. Now. Why the fuck is Switch games so expensive? Always.
Well, you get the Switch tax. That's the way it works.
Fuck the Switch tax.
Oh, man. But yeah, look, I'm really excited for Super Nintendo. I can't wait for the controllers. That's going to be awesome once I get it in my hand. Daemon X Machina also got a trailer, which I've discussed this with somebody like outside of our circle. Basically, they're really excited for it. I personally am a bit weary on it based on the demo that they had a few months ago. The frame rate was terrible. But the game trailer that just dropped looks great. So it's out. There's another demo that's out, so I should actually check out that new demo and see if they've actually cleaned it up. But from the very first demo that they brought out, I was a bit on it. It didn't really sell it to me based on just some of the gameplay aspect of it. It's not a clean game to say the least. So I wasn't very impressed with it, but a lot of people are. They love their mech kind of games.
Like the whole Gundam style stuff is people get real hard for.
Yeah.
The first trailer on the direct a while ago with like metal as fuck guitar.
Yeah.
It was very new metal.
It sold it. It's very chuggy.
I'm never going to play that game, but I'm going to remember it because that new metal chug was awesome.
Yeah. But the gameplay kind of let me down a little bit based on just some of the mechanical aspects of it. The frame rate was poor, so it kind of made me put it down. So I'm hoping maybe I'll check out the new demo and see if it resells it to me, because I was really excited to see it. That and Astral Chain essentially kind of was like, yes, this is my jam. I want to play some of these games, but Damon X Machina let me down a little bit. But I'm going to replay the demo, see if it's cleaned itself up a bit. Hopefully it won't chug as much as it did. Like, you remember the Control game, like when we paused and came out of the menu, it just chugged and chugged and chugged.
Yep.
That's essentially what happened here, except that when you were coming out of scenarios, it chugged. Yeah.
Less gameplay chug, more new metal chug. What we want.
Yeah.
Chun.
We got an extended look at Animal Crossing New Horizons.
That I'm kind of excited for, because
really?
I've never played Animal Crossing, but apparently it's like Harvest Moon, and I am wrecked for Harvest Moon. So
are you for real? Okay, hold on. This is now something new I'm learning about.
Yeah, I'll check it out. Like I said, I don't know. I've not paid a lot of attention to it because I think it's like up. I think its release date's pretty nebulous at this point.
Okay.
So like I've not put a lot of extra thought into it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'll check Animal Crossing out.
Yeah.
Because give me sort of like farming sim, or
I've noticed you're a bit into those farming sims, aren't you?
Yeah, they're my Zen games, man. Like, because you can kind of check out, and the rules are simple. It's like defined. It's straightforward. It's fun.
Are you into what's the fucking big one there? Stardew Valley.
Fuck yeah, I love Stardew Valley.
Yeah.
Man, I played Stardew Valley years ago. Loved it. Fun story. Speaking of Switch, we were at EB Expo X many years ago, and it launched at midnight. Yep. We all stayed up to download it. Like Josh and I stayed up to midnight, downloaded that fucker, played it for like 4 hours, went to sleep, woke up and went to PAX, and went back to EBX by like 8, 9 o'clock.
Nice.
Yeah.
Jamie confirmed in the chat the day March 2020.
Sweet. I'll get excited for it come January.
Yeah, because I do remember that date dropping, and then like Drew from the House of Mario said to Bryce, "Oh yeah, that's so close," and then Bryce was like, "Idiot, that's close the other way. Yeah. We're in April now," and he's like, "Fuck." Great, it was such a great moment.
I got enough games between now and then to cover me, and then I'll care about it next year.
We have so many games between now and then. It's insane. It's almost like this year's gone so fast, and the amount of games that have actually been delivered. Almost like we think about it, the quality of game has kind of been a bit but the amount of game that we've had is just like up there this year.
Very high.
Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition was announced, and we're really feeling it. Says press start. So I was big into the original Xenoblade Chronicles as well. I picked up number 2. I got the collector's edition that's sitting up there, which I was big into. But the first one, man, was just great. So I can't wait to actually sit down and play it on the Switch again. A lot of fun. Have you ever played the Xenoblade Chronicles?
I haven't. We reviewed it back in the day. So Xenoblade Chronicles 2, that Josh, my co-host, spent a big hunk of time with it. Absolutely adored it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's amazing.
I obviously trust his word, so yeah, he said it was fantastic.
Dude, you should definitely sit down and give it a go. It's awesome. But yeah, look, honestly, that's pretty much all the big news that came out. Oh, and of course, Sans from Undertale is joining Super Smash Bros. A lot of people freaked out over that. I'm not a big Undertale fan. I know Paul is not either. Paul is not an Undertale fan. But yeah, Sans is joining Super Smash Bros. From Undertale. So there you go. That is essentially the wrap up on the Nintendo Direct. I thought it was a solid Direct. They did a great job this time, Betson. It was probably one of their better Directs. Whereas kind of like the one before, we got the indie showcase, I guess it was, at the Gamescom conference. Wasn't like before that one, it wasn't really delivering anything that was new or anything. We got a couple hits and everything, but the one before that was the Zelda one, which is kind of like at E3, which is kind of the big one.
Yeah.
But in between then to now, I feel like Nintendo were like, here's a Direct, and we've got some. It's like,
look, Nintendo have done enough of these Directs now that you're pretty much guaranteed at least a tidy edit. Like, it's going to be a good punchy showing. Yep. It may not have all the big swing, big hitters.
Yeah.
But it would still be a good video package to watch.
Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Betson, let's talk about something that we did a couple nights ago. The Breakpoint murder.
Yes.
Was that last night or was that a couple nights ago? That's 2 nights ago.
2 nights ago.
That's right. Yeah, I've stuck to brain. Yeah. So we, myself, Mr. Ryan Betson, Mr. Dylan Blight from the Explosion Network and Buddy sat down and played the Breakpoint beta.
Yeah, so big thank you to Ubisoft Australia for providing me the code, which I was able to share with my co-host this week, was my friend Max. And
big thanks to Buddy Watson for giving me a code.
Yeah.
You're going, sorry, I'll cut you off.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was remember where you hooked yours up from. So yeah, big thank you, Ubi, for that. Just a heads up.
No problem. Betson, I'm going to let you kick off this one.
Well, so I fucking loved Wildlands, man. I thought Wildlands was the tits. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I loved it so much. Mm-hmm. So coming into Breakpoint, I was really, really excited. I was like, if they can take what Wildlands has done and make it better, then I'm sold. As of right now, it is not that. Like, some of the core Ghost Recon Wildlandsy stuff is there, but there is just some problems. Now, I understand that this is a beta and it's never specified how old this build is. This build may be X amount of months old, right?
Yeah.
But there are some hardcore problems here. I myself had numerous texture pop in, or texture not loading at all. I had an issue where because the game has gone for a more realism effect compared to, say, Wildlands, so you have to climb, traverse up hills and slide down them and whatnot. I got stuck in a slide motion and I slid everywhere. Like the slide, what's the word I'm looking for?
Just
the old sliding thing, right? It didn't stop. I went upstairs, down rails, into a car, and it just kept sliding, and it wouldn't stop.
Is it like glitching? You're just sliding down?
Yeah. So it just, like, I would stop, and I would still be in the glitch motion.
Oh, no.
And then I would just move around. It was like I was playing, Ghost Recon Pro Skater.
Yeah.
What else? So the game looked like crap a lot of the time. Some moments it looked exceptional. Other moments it didn't. Like, there's, in one of the missions that you do, you have to go see one of your soldier buddies who has been injured. He pulls up on my screen, looks like PS2 CG. It looks real bad. But your character tends to look pretty sharp. So this is fun. Like, we'll get to some more, like, sort of like opinion-y based stuff, but this is like base level problems. Base level problems. Reviving wasn't a thing. So, say Dash was down, I went to revive Dash. In my game, he would stand up and be okay. In Dash's game, he was still lying down waiting for the count. Big problem. Huge problem. On top of, but there are, like, that's broken stuff that I dealt with. Dash got stuck in some items. See, some of these things are beta-y, like getting stuck in the, pardon me, like the slide thing. That's a beta glitch. That's like presumably patched out fix. Falling through items, patched out fix, not an issue. But visual stuff like this, things not loading in, that's servery problems, and that could be a concern. Could also be beta. That's why they do it. But the thing now, everyone kind of knows that a beta isn't truly a beta anymore.
No.
Like, a lot of the time,
we are getting delivered a portion of a game.
Yeah, a lot of the time, what we see from beta to final release, especially when we are under a month out now, those changes are not that drastic.
No.
So I 100% have some concerns.
Oh yeah, same.
But in terms of the more opinion-based concerns, we'll get to them in a minute. What do you think about the game as its core, as its fundamentals?
I had the exact same concerns as you. The game looked like a PlayStation 2 game. Playing it, we both, by the way, we just mentioned we played it on PlayStation 4.
I played on a Pro.
Yes, we both played it on Pro. The game looked like ass. Like, I could have honestly, you could put a side-by-side comparison of a PlayStation 2 game to this at moments. I remember walking past, you remember that part that we were playing the other night where we had to kind of swim under the bridge and then hike through some of the pipes in the tunnels there.
Yeah, so it was a mission where we were swarming a base, and one of the best things about the Ghost Recon as a formula, it's very stealth-based compared to the Division, so we were taking a side way in to get into this
very stealthy. But as we were doing it, some of the terrain... Say Jamie, thanks for coming, dude. Some of the terrain around us was having a just trouble loading, and I was like, oh my god. There was one point I was like, and I think I screamed it out, I said, I'm falling through the floor at the moment, I cannot help. Because I was standing there, and Buddy had an invisible gun in his hand, and I was like, hey Buddy, you got an invisible gun. And as soon as I said that, I just, my whole character went through the floor, and it's that thing where you kind of just stand there doing, your arms waving in the air, and then it glitches back and you're standing there again. And it's like,
I also blue screened 3 times.
Yeah, so there are going to be, like, if they do not clean this up before release, there's going to be these problems that come on hand. Also, some of the models around you as well. The tree roots honestly look like something out of Crash Bandicoot. And I was like, man, the models in this game are terrible. The terrain around me is loading like crap, and the textures are fucking abysmal right now. And like you said, some of the characters around you, while I looked crisp and very human-like, the characters around me, I even had a couple problems where they were T-posing at one point. I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, the other problem I had, which is the technical problem, is the focus distance. So one of the things they're doing in terms of, which we'll get to in the more subjective stuff, but they've changed how the story is delivered. They're using the same Assassin's Creed style single camera setup. Talk. And with doing that, because they're using literally in-game models to do that, they have to do some funny things to make it seem like a cutscene.
Yeah.
And one of them thing is blur out the backgrounds, kind of like create an autofocus effect.
Yeah.
I had moments where that focus gave me nothing. Everything was a hot mess.
Yeah.
The background was just so blurry it hurt my eyes.
Yeah.
It would focus on the wrong character. So say should be focusing on me, it's focusing on the person next to me, so I'm fuzzy. There were times where it focused on an NPC in the background.
Yeah.
So I'm a hot mess and they're crystal clear.
Yep. Yeah. It is very much like what you just said, a hot mess right now. I feel like I listened to Dylan today over on for the play. Platinum Explosion. Holy shit, he's gonna kill me for that. I listened to Dylan over on Platinum Explosion today, and he was
too.
Yeah, he was saying stuff like, Dash is like, the game is shit, and Dylan, let me calm you down first of all. I know you're listening to this. That's not essentially what I was saying. What I was saying was this game is unpolished. It is so unpolished for a game that's ready for release in a month or so.
Less than a month.
Less than a month, yeah.
October 4th.
It is concerning how unpolished this game really is, To sit back, like, I know I'll probably end up getting it just to kind of sit down and maybe review it or anything, but that's my other concern, is actually sitting down and reviewing it. Do I really want to? Because I feel like if they're going to deliver this, might be a negative experience, man. I don't want that out of Ubisoft, because I feel like Division was a solid experience for them. I enjoyed the Division. I almost feel like they should have just scrapped this project and went and said, let's just do some Division DLC and keep going with that, because that's quite popular at the moment and we're doing so well with that. This game here just exemplifies what, like, I realize that they have their teams over at Ubisoft, kind of like what Activision have when they publish their team, like different developers, and then like they with Call of Duty, who publish different games for Activision. I feel like with Ghost Recon though, man, like we've come this far with other franchises that have done so well. Ghost Recon has just kind of been like, well, you know what? We don't need another Ghost Recon game. Why are we still making these games? Wildlands is great, but it wasn't anything spectacular. Like it didn't break any ground.
It was the best-selling game of that year. For context.
Yeah, it was, but why?
This is where we're going to get some more subjective shit, right?
Yeah.
So, as I said, what they've done here, from what we've seen so far, this game is becoming an example of the Ubisoftification of their games, as in all their games are hitting a very specific formula. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with with learning from previous games. An example that I used in my show was Rockstar. So right. Rockstar, you would always see implementations of various technologies and mechanics in whatever games they were making, and eventually it would culminate in Grand Theft Auto or something around, one of their big staple games. So we're seeing that here. We're seeing bits of other games come together. And so the Wildlands was a sort of an additional on the Division. So there's a lot of Division style gameplay in there, except with that more stealthy element, with Division being very all about shooting. Like you can stealth, but you're not going to have a good time. Like Wildlands works best when you play tight and you work as a team and you clean your way through rather than just blow the fuck up.
Right.
So that part still stays here. However, in terms of that Ubisoftification, like there has been a change in how the story is delivered. Now, in a game like Wildlands, the story was there. It's all about, like liberating Bolivia, where the story was still there and it was really cool and it was great, but it was delivered in a different way. It was delivered very similar to how Far Cry 5 was, where it's like, here's your lieutenant, clear him out and you'll get to your big boss man in the middle. That's what you have to do.
Right.
Now here they've gone more of a very linear, direct approach, and by doing so, I feel it kind of fucks with the story.
Yeah.
Well, not the story, how it kind of fucks with the delivery of that story. So in Wildlands, it was a lot of, proper cutscenes. It wasn't like using in-game models, it was cutscenes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where here, they're using that the Assassin's Creed technique of, using in-game models and with some trickery. I imagine that's staggeringly reduces development time or development effort. So I understand why it's done, but I feel it's a little bit crap. And on top of that as well, the story here just feels like shit.
Yeah, nobody cares.
Like it doesn't, like they're trying to put something in it, and the problem that I had was my guy, he just sounded like generic.
Oh my god!
Like it sounded like as cliche as you could possibly be, and it sucked, and it hurt the game because of it. Yeah. So I don't, that cool. They've brought in John Bernthal, like the Punisher, an actual awesome actor. So we didn't see him in the beta. He's there for like a second. You don't hear from him. Like I imagine that plays later, but the tough part is getting people to that later.
Yeah. Hey, Ghost in the Machine, welcome to the show, dude. Good to see you. So yeah, look, I agree. I couldn't give a rat's ass about any of the story. I feel like they kind of forced it in our faces. Like every time I came in and I was like, all right guys, I'm in the game, ready to go, and then a cutscene would come in and it's like, what the fuck? And it's like, press circle to skip this scene. Yes, hurry the fuck up. I don't care. I want to play the game.
Because it's that expositional like like
yeah,
face,
but it's not even
face,
that bit, and you know what it is?
But it kind of abrupts it. It's not smooth.
Yeah,
it's not a flowing
very
sort
abrupt.
of thing.
If anything, it's interrupted because I'll be playing with you guys, right? A cutscene will come up and I'll just be standing there. Or even for you, you'll just be standing there. There was a couple of moments where people were just standing there getting shot, and it's like, hey, you're getting shot in the back. It's like, fuck, I'm in a cutscene.
Yeah, that happened to happen with us. So I was playing with my friend Max, who did the show with me this week.
Yeah.
The cutscene triggered for me. It didn't trigger for him.
Yeah.
But the results of that cutscene was you get swarmed at this dock.
Yep.
They swarmed when I was still in the cutscene.
Yeah.
So I come out, they're all dead.
Yep.
Max is like, what the fuck? I'm like, I was in a cutscene, man.
You can't help it. It's like other players have been like, hey, I need help here. Hey, I'm down. Or it's like, sorry, I'm stuck in this cutscene. The fuck?
See, saying that though, like when you say stuck in a cutscene, you could easily skip out of them at any, circle.
No,
hold.
You're wrong. There were a couple of cutscenes I could not get out of. And I was like, you're even saying that. I think you and Dylan were like, just hold down a circle. I was like, I'm holding down a circle. I cannot get out of this cutscene right now. And it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, like your teammates might need help. One of your teammates might be down, but you're here having to watch this bullshit cutscene. It's like, if there's a cutscene, shouldn't we all be watching it?
Yeah. Another thing they've implemented here as well, which wasn't present in Wildlands, is level gating. Yeah. So they've now implemented loot, like a loot score. Yeah. So as you progress, you unlock more gloves and hats and pants and vests and guns that have higher scores on them. Yeah. Cool. That works great. Once again, Ubisoftification. Yeah. Like it's not using the same some color value similar to like Far Cry New Dawn or Assassin's Creed. So it's not entirely taken over here, but it took away what Wildlands did. When Wildlands opens, it goes, here is Bolivia. Have fucking fun. Yeah. So you could literally, the second you get a helicopter, you can go wherever. We're here, in the beta at least, we slightly went off the path and we got obliterated by overpowered drones.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't get it. That's
I'm sure that they've also made some changes. They've changed the skill tree and that sort of stuff. Like the menu is janky as shit.
Yes, very much so.
I'm not entirely saying that. I'm similar to you. I will 100% probably play it. I will probably 100% review it. Because like I want to see where this goes. This is a situation of, this isn't me shitting on it because I want to shit on it.
Same.
This is me shitting on it because I wanted it to be better.
Same.
I had so much hope and I wouldn't even say expectations. It was hope, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, I had such a good time with Wildlands. I had such a terrific time with Division 2. I wanted that terrific time to continue.
Same. 100% with you, Bets, and it's just a case that they let me down with this beta because with the Division, I essentially was not going to play it at all. I got talking to it by Buddy and Dylan, and I was like, okay, I'll play it, and I loved it. Every minute of it, I loved playing with the guys. This one here, I kind of sat down with this beta. I'm like, this is not selling me at all. This game is kind of deterring me from even actually playing it or wanting to play it. I'm a fucking reviewer. I should be approaching Ubisoft to actually want to review their game. I don't want to because one, it kind of deterred me from even wanting to. I don't like giving negative reviews. I don't. I hate it. I hate it with a passion, right? Like we were discussing this before we began the podcast. Wolfenstein Youngblood, I hated giving it a negative review, but I had to because it wouldn't be professional of me to give a glowing review to a game that I felt that wasn't fantastic. Yeah. Would you have been happy giving Wolfenstein Youngblood a glowing review?
No, because it wasn't very good.
Right. And I feel like if I go into this, I'm kind of treading those waters again. I don't want to go into this again, giving another negative review to a game that I feel like maybe is going to underdeliver. And from the beta, it underdelivered. I don't want to experience that again. So, as a gamer who's going out to buy this as well, like essentially, are they selling it to me right now? No. This has been a negative experience so far with the beta. And they really need to make sure that before they release this in full in a month or less than a month's time, October 4th, I think you said, they need to clean this up tenfold. Yeah.
Big time.
Tenfold. So, yeah, I cannot come out of this beta and say that, yeah, I had a great time. I didn't. I played it for, how many hours? 5-6 hours?
Yeah. I played it for even longer than you did, so.
Right. So it says something that you played it longer than me and you kind of feel the same as well. So it's like, please, Ubisoft, make sure you clean it up before you actually release it because it really needs a good cleanup.
Yeah, and I said I tried it single player. I tried it with you guys as multiplayer.
Yeah.
I wanted to see whether it was a server load thing, but no, I had the same problems front to back.
Let's move on to the next topic of the night. Borderlands 3 has had so many glowing reviews from many websites,
and some lowy ones.
Yeah. So obviously we haven't gotten it yet. We probably won't be getting it until Friday on the day of release. But this comes by way of Shannon over at Press Start. The first Borderlands 3 reviews are in and it's sounding pretty good. The first Borderlands 3 reviews dropped overnight. Unfortunately, we were not amongst the outlets to get an early review code. No Australian outlets were. These were apparently reserved for select US outlets, and they were provided codes under some pretty insane stipulations. He goes on, 19 reviews are currently live on Metacritic, and it's sitting on an 85. For comparison's sake, Borderlands 2 ended up with a 91. Borderlands ended up with a 93. So it appears to somewhere be between the original and the sequel. IGN gave it a 9 out of 10 and said Borderlands 3 sticks to its guns and outdoes itself with an amazing arsenal of weapons and humor. So,
Polygon also get like a 68 or something.
Yeah. So in saying this also, you got to remember that Metacritic now taking on board many other websites now, whereas back in the day there was only a handful that was selected and part of that aggregate. Now we've got hundreds of websites part of an aggregate score at the end of it. So you can understand why it kind of is filtered a little bit lower than that. But if you it's kind of like inflation of the dollar kind of deal. These days. There's more people to actually give an opinion, and obviously reviews are going to be a little lower. I think the lowest review score that I saw on Metacritic came from like PC Gamer, which was a 63.
Yeah, they pipped on it. Yeah,
but so far, look, honestly, it's been nothing but glowing for Borderlands 3, and it's going to be quite intriguing when it does come out. Now,
saying that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's glowing.
Yeah.
But this is the thing. Like, they have been giving it to such selected outlets. Like, I'm not saying there's like a controversy or anything here. It's just uncomfortable, right? Like, I'm not saying that the reason, like, we didn't get it, so, oh, fuck, I punched my microphone.
Again.
Motherfucker, we get it day of at best. We are like low rung dudes in the biz. Yeah. But when Press Start, one of the biggest companies in Australia, Skill Up as an example, who's another gentleman, like he is an Australian guy who has an incredible international audience, doesn't get it.
Yeah.
And I guarantee there's hundreds of massive, like I don't think Kotaku got one even.
They didn't.
You know what I mean? Like these are big guys that aren't getting it. Like if anything demonstrates selective picking, this is that.
So
100% it is.
Yeah, so it's funny that you bring up Kotaku. Jason Schreier over at Kotaku actually has something up that says Borderlands 3's review situation sure is strange. Borderlands 3 reviews hit the internet very early today, but only a select few websites, thanks to a bizarre scenario that publisher 2K says is in place because of security concerns. Typically, video game reviewers work off early retail copies of games provided by publishers. They can be either digital or physical, and they function like any other game you buy in store. Our forthcoming review of Zelda's Link's Awakening, for example, will be based on an early retail code provided by Nintendo that functions just like the proper game will when it comes out on the eShop. Pretty much like when we get review copies, we just jump into the store, redeem the code, and it's there.
Yeah, pretty much. Like we don't get debugs, but it's saying that they're like we've played games 2-3 weeks early, and they've been the retail copy. Like it's
Control's a great example of that.
Yeah.
Occasionally, game publishers will send out very early game builds on debug consoles that work a little differently, but these days that's rare. Usually, reviewers are playing the same game that everyone else will, just a week or two earlier. In that case, Borderlands 3, which comes out on Friday for PC and consoles, things are unusual. Rather than sending out codes for the game, 2K gave reviewers a special Epic Game Store accounts loaded up with early copies, basically work in progress builds of Borderlands 3. A bizarre scenario that we've never seen before. As Polygon explained in their review, 2K Games and Gearbox didn't send out review codes for Borderlands 3. Instead, they set reviewers up with an Epic Store account with the game that was unlocked and gave us a few warnings about the game being a work in progress. Okay, so what the fuck?
Yeah.
now I'm even more confused. Yeah. So,
but now I just want to quickly jump on the security concerns, right?
Yeah.
These aren't like I understand they've had that issue with that YouTube guy who just happened to somehow get a bunch of information, whole private investigator bullshit. Don't give him a copy.
Yeah.
Problem solved.
Yeah.
Like you're talking big ass companies here that have never broken embargoes, man. Like these people are good. These people are like legit dudes. And you're like, oh, security concerns. Like, nah, mate, you are trying to control a narrative. You're trying to control a message here.
Do you think that also controlled the review score?
I think so.
You really? Okay, so hold on.
I don't think it was intentional. I don't think they're like, you better give us a 9. I think it's more of like you select the people that you want. If you want an at launch particular sample, like it's just picking, like it's picking and choosing. Like I don't think, like I in no way am I claiming that there's this big controversy, as I said.
Yeah.
It's just these are the guys that are too big to argue against, like your IGNs or your PC Gamer or something like that. Like these companies are too big to say no to. But you can, like, anyone second to that, like, no, maybe they've said something negative at some point. Maybe, it's just, they have the power. All the, we should mention 2K, every publisher, every developer ever, it is under their discretion on who they give these codes to.
Yep.
No one is entitled to a code, to a copy.
Yeah.
So they are well within their rights to do this.
Yeah.
That should be 100% mentioned.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. What I want to see is when it does drop to everybody else, not public, everybody else in media, what that score becomes then.
Yeah.
That's what I'm curious about.
So the highest score right now on Metacritic sits with XGN at a 95. The lowest right now, which is in a mixed category, which is usually the yellow category, is from PC Gamer. It's 63. But the average score that I'm seeing from outlets on here ranges from essentially... actually, the second lowest is 77, but it ranges from an 8 to a 9. So that's essentially what we're getting from a lot of these outlets here, but there are a lot of outlets here that are kind of questionable as well that are on this list.
On top of that as well, like a lot, I had a quick glance at some of these, and a lot of them talk about how like this weird, the game ran weird and did all these weird things, and it's like, and it's a 9. Like it's just like once again, I am, because I'm part of it. Like, I'm in no way believe that there is this fucking getting bribed. Like,
yeah.
You know, as I said, I got given a beta code from Ubisoft. I just shat on that game for fucking 20 minutes.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, we got given Wolfenstein from Bethesda.
That's part of our job. That's what I'm saying. We have to make sure that we do that. So the point I'm making is just because we were given a code doesn't imply that we're going to say good things. No. And that goes the same here. Like, there's an implication, but you don't have to follow that implication. Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of them delivering a possibly damaged/broken game, a work in progress is beta.
Okay, yeah, that's what I thought too. Reading that, a work in progress build of
early
Borderlands
access.
3, that to me reads as, hey, this is not the full game.
Yeah,
but here's your review code. So, are they actually getting a final build? What are they basing this review?
Are they updating? Is there an updated review when they get the full release?
Okay, so yeah, but that's the thing. Like, that is a confusing stance on actually giving us an explanation. So, you guys didn't get a final build of the game. You guys aren't getting the retail version of the game, essentially, is what Jason Schreier explained to us just then. It was not a final build of the game or a review or a retail copy of the game that, just say, myself or Betson or whoever else will probably be copying on Friday. It's going to be... This is based on a custom build from 2K.
Absolute silver lining. The game's going to be even better than reviewed.
Yeah, hopefully.
That's the silver lining. They're like, hey, this build was broken and we gave it an 8 or a 9. I'm like, oh fuck, the full release better be awesome.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed. I mean, essentially, it's still a confusing... It just confused the fuck out of me because I wasn't expecting to read that at all. What I was expecting to read was, hey, the game's great. Go ahead and buy it. But now that I've seen that they had to sign into an Epic Game Store account that 2K set up on their end with the custom build of the game that essentially is not the retail version of the game. Well, if it's not the retail version of the game, what build is this game? And should there not be an asterisk that says, based on an Epic Store build?
This is, should be, this is version blah, blah, blah from build from September 2019. Well, like, that needs to be stipulated.
Yeah. But, well, it has now been stipulated and confirmed by Jason Schreier and by Polygon, essentially, that this is not the retail version of the game.
Correct.
So, morally, should they be reviewing it?
Yeah, of course so. They're reviewing what they've been given at the time.
Okay, but should they be selling that as the retail?
It comes down to that grey area of, like, do you review an early access title?
Okay. So, when we are privileged to actually be given early access to games
an early access build, like when PUBG before it was 1.0. Because is this technically 1.0?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing here. Like, if this is version 1 point something, and we are getting 1.8 as the retail version, that's fine. It's still the full game, just not quite there.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Borderlands out. I don't know.
Saying that,
it's confusing though.
It is. I'm still keen to play it. I'm gonna play the fuck.
100%. I'm gonna
come Friday, come this weekend. I'm playing the fuck out of it.
We're probably gonna be playing it together.
Very likely.
That'll be really cool.
Yeah, very likely.
So Borderlands is out this Friday, guys. So make sure that you keep your eyes and ears peeled on many other outlets, and of course, I'll have a full review up. Fingers crossed by next Friday. Betson, you'll probably get your thoughts.
My initial impressions on the Monday, and then probably a full review the week later.
Awesome. Very cool. Paul in the chat, yep, is very excited as well. We're probably all going to be playing it. Mad Triller TV, thank you very much for the follow, by the way.
Triller, okay.
Yeah.
Good kid, that Triller.
Let's move on to the next topic of the night, Betson, which is the Resident Evil. I know this is one you're fucking keen on. Resident Evil. So this one comes by way, and I had it up, here it is, by way of Shannon, once again over at Press Start, who says the next Resident Evil game is a team-based shooter. After teasing the game last week, Capcom has now released the full first trailer for Project Resistance, which is a team-based Resident Evil game. The trailer shows us 4 characters fighting their way through an office building. Each character has a different weapon, which they use to take down the undead. Right at the end of the trailer, we get a look at the Tyrant, which you'll know well if you play the recent Resident Evil 2 remake. The game will be properly revealed at Tokyo Game Show later this week, with the game releasing next year on PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
As I've discussed before, I'm a big Silent Hill guy. I grew up with my Silent Hills.
Yep.
Didn't play a lot of Resi, but with Silent Hill pretty much dead and gone, I was like, hey Resi, how you doing? And then I played Resident Evil 2 remake, and I was like, hey Resi, I'm here to stay.
Did you hear about did you ever hear, before we continue, did you ever hear about the the Silent Hill story about like when they were going to redo it and how like it was all pitched and everything?
No.
So they were in a boardroom, and when the whole deal came up, Silent Hill was written on a whiteboard, and the game's creator walked up to the whiteboard and looked at it, and they said, "We need a new name for."
So we just put the S.
He wrote S on the end with a $sign in the S. So yeah, that was one of the best things. But yeah, like honestly, this is going to be awesome. I am big like Capcom, man. Capcom, just like I love it. Let me eat it up.
This thing, I have reservations because the idea of a 4-player online shared co-op thing, you know, a lot of aside from Wildlands, as I mentioned, that doesn't happen a lot for me. Wildlands, I played most by myself.
Yeah.
Once again, I love Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Survive is exactly this.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Survive was an anus.
Yeah.
Like I have
but but it wasn't Kojima.
That's true. And Capcom have done some good shit.
And that's where they fucked up, because when Kojima sold it, right? When Kojima tried to sell Silent Hills, like with that what I just said, that was Kojima who went up, by the way, and did that on the whiteboard, who put the $sign up. He was like, this is going to sell bucket loads. This is going to be the biggest thing ever. So you're right when you say this, though, about Resi. It's just that I feel like Resi might be heading towards a great kind of situation here for a team-based.
Yeah, Metal Gear Survive was actually was a Kojima idea. Everyone kind of forgets that as well. Yeah. So like was trying that this. He was part of the project, at least initially, but delivery is a bit different.
Yeah.
But with here, like I'm sure it should be fine. Like it should be good. I myself, after in loving Resident Evil 2 and loving Resident Evil 7, I was hoping for an 8. Like,
yeah.
I understand shared multiplayer online thingers are the big shit right now.
Yeah.
But this style of game is usually a stopgap for you waiting for the next one. We had the stopgap, it was 2.
Yeah.
So why?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I feel like we're going to get something great in delivery here.
I'm still going to play it.
Oh yeah, same.
Yeah.
I still think that while your reservations are valid, very valid to be honest.
Reservations?
Yeah, reservations. I have reservations and they're very valid, so.
I was going to say res like Resident Evil.
I just got it. Oh my god.
Not a dad dash, you don't get it.
I feel like this is just one of those things where I can't think of a time that Capcom have let us down in recent memory, man.
No, yeah, like Resident Evil 2 is fantastic. Devil May Cry was fantastic.
Oh, so good.
And there's another one in there. But they're two that's distinct. I can think my brain works in 12-month intervals. In the last 12 months, those two games have come out and be fucking gangbusters. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Well, if this is running on that RE engine.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah. I'm damp. I'm moist.
Yeah. That RE engine really, when they rebooted Resident Evil and even when they had Resident Evil 7 come out.
Devil May Cry.
They've over-delivered. Honestly, that whole engine has kind of just rebirthed.
Oh, and Monster Hunter, of course. Yes, thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. 100%. Yeah, Capcom is back, man. 100%. I just can't see them letting us down with this at all. I hope so. Fingers crossed. Please, Capcom, please bring the goods here, because this is going to be something that's huge, I reckon. I honestly think this might be a big franchise for them. So, I know that Resident Evil is a big franchise, but what I'm saying is the project this whole project that they got going, I think might be massive.
The potential is there. Apparently Resident Evil done something similar to this back in the day. It was like Operation Raccoon City or something.
Yeah, but oh my god, I remember this. Yeah, it was one big dumpster fire because there were creative differences on the whole project, and then when it was written, there was one massive idea and another massive idea, and they tried to kind of put it together, and it just kind of, it's like when magnets, don't connect and just go bing. Yeah, essentially that's what happened. I remember that. Yeah, that was terrible. Awful. But yeah, Project Resistance looks very good, and we can't wait for that to come out. Betson, another piece that we have tonight is Cyberpunk 2077 cutscenes will be in first person. Did you hear about this at all?
I'm aware.
Yeah, so this one comes by way of Alicia Judge over at IGN, who says almost all of Cyberpunk 2077 cutscenes will be locked to first-person perspective, according to CD Projekt Red. Since the core gameplay of Cyberpunk is almost the first person, this means that players will rarely see their character's appearance. The studio's global community lead, Marcin Momot, or whatever, I can't even know, says this is a deliberate decision that prioritizes a narrative flow. He tweeted, "Achieving full immersion in a FPP game is extremely important, and the decision made by the team to go 100% first person in Cyberpunk game is something that will benefit it greatly from gameplay and storytelling perspectives." This is one of those things where while I don't know whether I'm okay with this, because
how is this new news? I was under the impression the whole thing was in first person from fucking yonks back.
Well, apparently they've just said this.
Because I remember everyone was like, is it third person? Like, which are like, no,
well,
it's
no,
first person.
I think this...
And everyone went, oh, man.
Yeah, but I think this utterly confirms the whole scenario, which is the whole game.
News. Everyone's getting uppity about old news. It's like the whole, is it cross or it's X? It's always been cross.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's correct.
Oh
it's right.
God,
but it's always been cross. And everyone just forgets.
Talking
it's
about
old news
recirculating. We're going into PlayStation.
No, I'm using it as an example. Like, I thought this first person stuff was old news.
So, no, apparently they've just confirmed it.
Okay.
Are you happy with that, though?
I don't give a fuck. I'm still going to play it.
Yeah, same. I think, though, that I don't know whether I'm a big fan of the whole game being first person.
With a game that's so based heavily on shooting mechanics, shooting mechanics work best within a first person perspective.
Right.
If you played The Witcher, in first person, it'd feel fucking weird.
But the whole game, but what we're talking about is the cinematics.
Yeah.
You're essentially, the cinematics are just going to be first person. They're not going. You're not going to see a character.
Yeah, that's immersion like a motherfucker. If they want to do that, like in Doom, you play the late Doom 2016, you never see yourself in the third person. Cutscenes included.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I get more immersive when I see my character on screen. There's more of a cinematic experience and actually seeing a protagonist than actually experiencing it without VR. Like, I feel like that would benefit VR more than anything to have that. But if it's not VR, I'm not too sure.
I think it's fine.
Whatever.
It's perfectly fine.
It's gonna sell anyway. It's got freaking Keanu in it.
I'm
anyway.
pretty sure Call of Duty has had its entire campaign in first person. This is not new. This is not new news, and it's not a new mechanic. People are just so hyper focused on Cyberpunk. They kind of take whatever there is and get, open and angry about it. It's fine.
Yeah.
The game will still be good.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry, everybody. Chill.
Betson is calming you all down. Betson, as we wrap up tonight's episode, I got to sit down and play the Chapter 9 DLC for Celeste. I know that this is something that I should be talking with Buddy with, but he's off playing his touch rugby tonight, being all sports buddy instead of dash culture buddy.
Go sports ball.
So, Betson, have you actually sat down and played Celeste at all?
No, I haven't.
Is this a game that you're going to?
Yeah, the problem because I'm not... to me, it looked like Super Meat Boy, like just fucking hard.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And that is not a game that works for me. I don't have the frustration tolerance, nor the time to really get fucking stuck on like a level. And regardless of how incredible this narrative may be, and how it is in fact a game of the year, it's going to be tough for me to get over that gameplay.
Dude, it is Dash Awards Game of the Year.
It is.
Yeah, look, I feel like. With Celeste being almost what birthed this podcast. Essentially, it is what birthed this podcast. Playing the final chapter, essentially getting to experience what is now the final chapter of the game. Recently, like having a brand new experience of the game, really put in motion what I love about video games. It was challenging. It was rewarding to play this. It didn't feel like I was playing it for nothing. The gameplay, the music, the look of it, everything. It screams a 10 out of 10 game altogether. Even with this is free DLC we're getting here. I was talking to you guys in the Discord chat through the Some Assembly Required one the other night, and I was like, man, I am still playing this level. I am now 3 hours in, and I'm still playing this level. I'm still going. It is this hard. And then I remember when I finally got to the end, I was like, okay, 6 hours. It took me 6 hours to complete the one level of DLC that it gave me. If that is not worth your time or money, then I don't know what is. That is something that, and it's free. It is ultimately free. They gave what is half the experience of Celeste, the actual game itself, free. You are getting a 6 hour one level experience that, yes, it's difficult as fuck. Don't get me wrong. It'll take every solid piece of experience that you need in the game to understand the fundamentals of this one level to get through the mechanics and everything else. If you do not understand Celeste, then you won't understand this level. But the game itself, from start to finish, is just a 10 out of 10 game, man. And to sit down and re-experience Celeste is once again through just the one level. The frustration, and you know, it's funny. The DLC almost made me cry. There's a story element to it as well, which was quite touching to me. I don't want to get into it right now. We'll talk about it in another time. The story wise, I'm actually going to be writing up a full review on the website as well of Celeste the game and a DLC. I think myself and Buddy probably going to be co-writing this one as well. But yeah, this DLC, man, it really delivers. On a high note for anybody who loves Celeste and loved just the experience, the story, the gameplay, and everything else, man. I can't get enough of it, and yeah, man, I love it. It's so good, so good.
Yeah, so like in terms of the story, like I know Buddy resonated with it for very specific reasons. Like I know it tackles some mental health stuff, which I'm a big advocate for. It's my job, and of course, I've had my own mental health challenges, which you want to hear about. They're pushing through blue with Dane Pevy.
That's it.
You know what I mean? So like that part of it makes me want to play it and give it a red hot go, because I'd love to see how that story is. Apparently it's one of the best demonstrations of mental health in the medium. And that's a big point for me. But yeah, it's like if the gameplay gets in the way of it for me, but you know, that's what I was looking over here. I was just looking at how much it was on PSN. It's like $30.
Yeah, man.
So I think like I will pick it up at some point. I will get on there.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that they've added more to it. They've back-ended it really nicely, and it's obviously a sort of a nice epilogue, I guess, to the emotional pull of the game.
It very much is, yeah. But yeah, man, highly recommend. $30. I mean, it's, you know, a couple of Happy Meals there that you can just chuck in and play. It's a fantastic game. I can't wait to review it with Buddy. It's been a long time coming for us to actually sit down and review. And also, they're finally releasing the physical version of the game from Limited Run Games, which I've been waiting for that pre-order since January when they announced it back in December on the Kind of Funny Games showcase.
Yep.
So now that they've got the DLC out, I'll actually get my hands. I actually got the Nintendo Switch and PS4 physical big limited edition pre-order versions of it. I know that Buddy probably wants to strangle me for actually getting those. I had to, man. It was so good. But yeah, that is my thoughts on Celeste, man. I'm really happy with the DLC, and it's finally free and available for everybody. Final thoughts now, Betson, is Gears 5. Thanks to the kind folk over at Xbox Australia, I actually got to sit down just recently, actually, and get my hands on it. So I'm going to give my quick thoughts, just really, really brief thoughts, because I'll get the review out. My review will be out on Monday for anybody out there. But my brief thoughts are fantastic so far. I'm loving what I'm playing. If you're a big Gears of War fan, this is one that you have to go out and pick up. Also, for the fact that right now, Xbox are running a promotion that you can get Games Pass Ultimate for $2 for 2 months. So make sure you jump on that because that's a steal. That is a freaking steal, and you get to have Gears 5 on that. So you essentially pay $4 and you get to play the game, the campaign if you want. But Gears 5. Amazing game, amazing story so far. I'm not going to spoil anything because it's still a fresh game. Gameplay loop is incredible. It's as smooth as the other games were, if not better. Graphically, the fidelity on the game is lovely. Like, I love looking at it. It's not an ugly game to look at, that's for sure. It is just as violent as the ones previous. You definitely get such an intense storyline with it as well. I won't go into detail on that, but it definitely is one of their most intense storylines. I think one of their most emotional storylines that I've played in a Gears game. Once again, almost made me cry. But these bloody video games making me cry these days. But
I'm used to that. No, once God of War got them phone for me, like I cry fucking all the time at the best times. So
yeah, man. But Gears 5. From Xbox, man, they're doing an amazing job this time. I can't wait to actually sit down and give it this good old review because I think I know what I'm going to be giving it. I won't say it yet, but it's definitely up there. Fantastic job.
Yeah, so like I've never, because being a big PlayStation guy that I am, I've not dipped my toe very heavy into Gears. I did play the Ultimate Edition of Gears 1 when it did come out on the Xbox One, but that game felt incredibly dated in delivery, and it felt like the time that it came out, and that's fine because that's when it came out. As you're saying that like Gears 5 kind of moves with those times,
yes,
and is sitting very much now, is a reason makes me want to go check it out. Big time, because like Gears has always intrigued me, and if this tells such an incredibly punchy and emotional story, as well as tight as fuck gameplay, then it's a big thumbs up for me. It's the situation of it's about time that Xbox have delivered a successful first party game. As I said, big PlayStation guy, but it's better when there's competition. I want fucking Xbox. I want Microsoft to deliver exceptional first-party games because it keeps PlayStation on their toes.
Yeah, 100%.
And with Crackdown and every other game that's kind of like Sea of Thieves and all these other big exclusives like State of Decay, they've all kind of fell short.
Yeah. No, 100% with you.
Hearing that this is fucking immaculate makes me very happy.
Yeah.
Very happy.
No, I am 100% with you, Betson. Paul also says it in the chat. Can confirm that it's an amazing game. Also, Xbox finally has an exclusive that's worth our time. 100% with you, Paul. 100% with you, dude. But yeah, I can't wait to get my full crack and review out to you guys on Monday for that one. Amazing title. Highly recommend you guys go check that one out. Betson, we are at the end of tonight's episode.
Yeah.
So, guys, if you didn't know, you've been listening to Dash Culture, our bi-weekly pop culture conversational podcast where the worlds of all of us come together and collide to talk about all those pop culture, geeky, stuffy, blah, 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 blah. If you like what you heard tonight, make sure you follow us on SoundCloud, iTunes, and Spotify. You can give us those cheeky 5-star ratings. Make sure you follow Mr. Ryan Betson over on Twitter at HaggardMC and also at PopCulturist. Betson, you got anything you want to pimp?
Yeah, man. The two shows that we pump out every week. The first is For the Players, the Pop Culturist PlayStation podcast every Monday. The Young and the Wrestlers, our WWE podcast that drops every Friday. Yep. And this week as well, normally, which I'd be doing right now, is we do our WWE pay-per-view predictions, because Monday is Clash of Champions. I would have been doing it now, but instead I'm doing this with our good old Dash. So I'll probably do that later in the week. But yeah, if you like PlayStation, if you like wrestling, come check us out. Would love it. Would love to listen to what we do.
Yep.
I spout shit all over fucking social media. So yeah, come harass me I'm very active on Twitter these days. Hang out on Twitter.
HaggardMC. Yeah.
HAGGARDMC.
That's correct. And also at Pop Culturist, where you can catch all his content. And he also does the wrestling show, Young and the Wrestlers, which I'm involved with as Dirt Sheet Dash. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm not Dirt Sheet Dash.
No, that's some other guy. It's very similar name.
Yeah, sexy guy.
You should talk about some like trademark infringement, you know.
I should probably get him on the show. He sounds like a great
dude. He's pretty cool.
Yeah. You can follow me on Twitter at Dash Gamers. You can follow Buddy over on Twitter at BuddyWatson12. You can follow Paul on Twitter as well, who is our other co-host, usually when Ryan is on, at Paul James Games. But guys, thank you so much for listening to tonight's episode of Dash Culture. We love you all so much, and until 2 weeks, when Buddy returns, oh my god, when Buddy returns, this is Dash Culture, out. We're doing a hashtag? We're doing a hashtag tonight? Hashtag Celeste, Celeste DLC, oh, for fuck's sake, screw it. Betson's thinking.
I got nothing. Hashtag, I got nothing.
Yeah, there we go. That's good.
dashgamer.com